the 100-year celebration movie. What's up, nerds? First time I watched Wish, I was actually at Disney World with my family for a summer vacation. And even on my first watch, I had to admit, the movie felt rushed. Everything happening extremely fast. You learn Magnifico's true colors within the first 20 minutes. Not only that, but Magnifico barely gets to do anything as a villain before he's defeated. So, as a celebration of Disney's 100 years of animation, why does this movie feel like it comes up short? And is it really as bad as we say it is? Let's find out. The movie's main characters are Asha, Star, and Magnifico. Yes, there's plenty of other characters in the cast, but none of them have enough screen time to be considered more than side characters, including poor Valentino. When it comes to voice acting, personally, I gotta give the top spot to Chris Pine. Hearing him play a villain character is such a fun twist from his usual heroic roles that he gets in other films. And he sells Magnifico's ideals really well, too. So much so that Crux thinks Asha is the villain of the movie. Not only that, but the way his villain song, "This Is the Thanks I Get," goes from fun and whimsical to deranged and cruel is a sharp turn that I honestly wasn't ready for. Genuinely, I had the same face as Asha by the time the song was over. Asha's no slouch either, as a character. A pure-hearted protagonist who just wants to give the people what is meant to be theirs. Her song, "Wish," is my second favorite part of the movie. Star, despite being a silent character, has tons of expressiveness with how he bounces around happily. The moments with Star that feel the heaviest are when he first meets Simon, who's already given his wish to Magnifico, and then when he and Asha make it into the Wish Vault for the first time. Seeing him be so happy and excited to be around all the different wishes shows in a remarkable way. The biggest problem is that the movie doesn't have enough time to give these characters the screen time they need to be truly memorable and impactful. And I think that's because this movie was heavily rushed to be ready in time for Disney's 100-year celebration. If it just had a bit more time to be developed, I truly believe this film could have met the expectations we all had for it. And again, the end of the movie is just kind of meh. Magnifico captures Star and blacks out the night sky, preventing any more wishing on stars, as well as chaining the people of Rosas to the floor. Intimidating, yes. Climactic final showdown worthy? Not even close. I will say that I am of the unpopular opinion in saying that I actually like how he's defeated. All of Rosas uniting their wishes and desires to create a force powerful enough to free Star and allow his scepter to be destroyed? I mean, is it so incredibly cliche for Disney? Yes, but this movie is meant to be a celebration of Disney animation, so I think it was the right choice for this movie. Some other complaints are, as I alluded to, Asha's objective. Except that it's completely misinterpreted. People seem to think that Asha wants to grant every wish in Rosas, but that's not inherently true. What Asha really wants is to return the wishes that Magnifico took from the people so that every wish has a fair chance. Remember, the thing that turns Asha against Magnifico isn't that he's holding the wishes. It's that he outright has no intention of granting some of them. Not all wishes can and will be granted, and the ones that do may not be granted in the way that the wisher intended. That's just the way that life and the world around us works. But what's important is that they all have as much of a chance as any other. That's all she wants, is to give them a chance. The next complaint is how it sounds like AI was used in some of the songs because of how poorly the wording is in certain parts. I can't speak to the legitimacy of this claim, as I couldn't find any concrete evidence one way or the other, but honestly, I think you guys are just rightful haters of AI. We have to admit that not every Disney song flows the greatest. I'm assuming the songs that make people think that are City of Rosas, This Is the Thanks I Get, and the reprise of Wish that happens in the climax of the film. And maybe You're a Star. I don't know, I go back and forth on that one. I do agree that some of these songs have some weird flow to them in bits. But no, I don't think even Disney is stupid enough to make that bad of a choice. And bear in mind, I'm not a Disney company defender. I just think that that's a little much even for them. The last complaint apparently has to do with what Star was going to be back in the movie's conceptual phase. Apparently, he was supposed to look more like a person, kinda resembling a male version of Asha to my eyes, with white hair. Supposedly, he'd have actually talked in this one. They likely went with the design we have now due to increased marketability. And I don't know, everyone. Personally, I like Star the way they are. Sure, it'd have been cool to have this other version, kinda, but I don't think this Star is that big of a problem. So, if all of that is how I feel about the movie, then why am I defending it? Well, because everything I've said up until now covers what went through my mind the first time I watched the movie. When I saw it again upon it arriving on Disney Plus, I had a different experience. You see, first time I watched it as a movie. Second time, I watched it as an Easter egg compilation. This movie is chock full of references from all over Disney's animation history, enough that it should make Pixar jealous. Here, in no particular order, are all the ones that I was able to find when I rewatched this movie for the making of this video. First off, Asha's main cast of friends are very obviously supposed to be a parody of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. One of the wishes we see in Magnifico's collection is a clear duplicate of Peter Pan, even doing the famous dive scene from the original film. Hell, Magnifico even name drops Neverland when he destroys that wish. When he's destroying another wish, he says, "So much for true love," which is a reference to when Ursula said it to Ariel and Eric. The movie's opening does the obvious opening of the book start, which is a reference to multiple classic Disney films. There's a shot during The City of Rosas where two kids are rocking in a toy boat that reminds me of the scene in Lilo and Stitch with the spaceship toy thing that Stitch thought was real. This one could just be my mind playing tricks on me, but something about how the camera works in the final chorus of the movie's titular song makes it feel similar to Pocahontas' Colors of the Wind song. At the end of You're a Star, one of the deer is straight up named Bambi, which I'd like to think is a self-explanatory reference. When Star shot a bolt of magic into Magnifico's study, a quill started to draw Mickey Mouse, finishing the ears before the scissors started chasing it. As Magnifico is making his staff, you can actually see the poisoned apple sitting just off to the side. Once Asha goes into hiding, her hood makes her look familiar to the fairy godmother, even getting a wand that looks very much like hers at the end of the movie. During Knowing What I Know Now, we see the face of the magic mirror from Sleeping Beauty and a shadow puppet representing Magnifico. Neat foreshadowing. The magic Magnifico uses to chain down the people of Rosas kinda looks like the thorns from Maleficent's magic thorn trees. And back a minute ago, remember the guy whose wish was the Peter Pan reference? Well, as we learn at the end of the movie, after everything is all said and done, his name actually is Peter. And finally, we get to my favorite part of the movie. The credits. As the credits scroll, we're treated with constellations of all the various beloved characters that Disney has given us over their century. And Pocahontas is here too! And as you're watching them, you get to listen to a song that makes my heart literally glow with warmth. I never skip the credits of Wish. Heck, I'll watch the entire movie just to enjoy the credits. The song A Dream Worth Dreaming is so nostalgia-invoking and thematically beautiful for Disney and what its purest foundations are. It helps to remind me that, in spite of the many, numerous, multiple, uncountable mistakes this company has made, and, let's face it, will continue to make, it all started with a man who had a dream and put his everything into making it a reality. The man who drew a mouse on a train ride that would go on to become an icon of animation history. You can say whatever you want about Wish, and Lord knows plenty of people already have. But this movie knows how to make references that make you feel nostalgic, which I feel is what they're trying to do in the first place. If the movie itself was better paced and had been allowed the time they needed, it wouldn't need the Easter eggs to carry it. I give this movie a 5 out of 10. When you watch it just for the film, you'll be disappointed, no helping that. But if you look for all the nods to Disney's history, you won't be sorry. And keep in mind, these were just the references that I myself could find. There could be many more that I totally missed. So I encourage you to share with me what Easter eggs you found that I may have missed or forgot to mention here in this video. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Check out my buddy Tyler Crux. He does a lot of fun stuff on his channel, like his Road to Completion videos. Definitely check those out if you haven't already. We collab all the time. I'll catch you later, nerds.